Welcome to the NeedleJig, welcome to the YouTube NeedleJig YouTube channel, as well as a simulcast with the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. We are here with Let's Talk Tattoo with Marc Lescarbeau from NeedleJig and James Gaither from Adenna. And you can please let us know in the chat rooms if this is working for you, and maybe give it a like and a share if you want to. I will be popping into the background to do the testing, and yeah, well, here we go. Let me get Marc and James on the call here, and let's see. And we also have a good interview. Here we go. Take it away, Marc.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Monday to you all. We're back live again today. I have my friend, James Gaither, on the other line here. He is the industry representative for Adenna products and kind of, all-around nice guy and a tattoo enthusiast, which is cool because I've been dealing with James for a few years now, and it's always been a business relationship. But I got to meet him last year, and we hit it off pretty good. And we actually filmed a short interview, I think, almost a year ago at the New England Tattoo Convention, and that never made it to air because, well, the world fell apart after that. And so we were getting ready to put that video up, and I figured, why not have a live talk with James because of all the chaos going on in the glove world right now. And there's all kinds of rumors, there's all kinds of theories, and I figured, why not, get the story straight from the source. So anyways, this is James. You want to say hi, James?
What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Thanks, Marc, for having me on, buddy.
No problem, man. It's always good to see you. James and I have become good friends. I think we're becoming good friends now that I understand that he's not just a sales guy. He's a serious tattoo collector. And to be honest with you, he's fighting for us in the corporate world to get us more of the products that we need, develop products that are already in use, and improve them for the tattoo industry. So it was really exciting to meet James and get to know him in that way. I mean, you could see he's a casual guy. I'm sure he's got his suits too, probably for the board meetings, but overall, he's a good guy to sit down, have beers with, and talk about art and tattoos. So it's nice to have a guy like that in our corner. And I'm rambling on a little bit here. We're giving it a few minutes for people to start to filter in and view here. But overall, I'm hoping for a good time today. We're going to talk briefly with James. Hopefully watch this video that we shot a year ago. And it's going to be interesting because you and I can look at this and go, wow, okay, that's where we were headed at that point in time, and this is where we're at now. How do those two visions relate? Are we on course? Are we behind where we're going? I'm sure you probably have an awful lot more to add to it at that. So right. What's your take on today? What are you hoping to accomplish today?
Well, I'm definitely hoping to maybe dispel some of the rumors out there right now, that have come from the COVID market. And, as you said, we did, make an effort last year in New England to, kind of introduce who I am to the industry, kind of getting to know more and more people and talk about exciting things at the time. And within 30 days from that recording, the whole plan that I had or anything that we had discussed, just went out the door, and it was all hands on deck to kind of go about the normal day-to-day to help people try to keep their supply chain and their businesses open, because Adenna doesn't service just tattoo. We service every vertical that needs disposable products. So, hopefully today we can kind of recap some of the goals and the vision and the excitement behind who we are, what we're in, and where we're going. And then also just kind of address any of the issues, and hopefully we get some questions today. That'd be pretty rad.
Yeah, want everybody to know that we're gonna watch this short video. I can't remember exactly how long it is, but it's not terribly long. And then we're gonna have a live Q&A after that, where you can ask me and James, pretty much anything you want to know. If it's gonna be glove or supply chain related, James is probably gonna have more answers for you there. But feel free to ask me my opinion. You all know I give my opinion whether it's asked or not. So I share that freely at all times. So yeah, we've been live a little bit here now. I don't know anything you want to say leading into this video, James, or
I just think keep in mind that we had every good intention at the time. Obviously, there's been some developments of certain products, so I'm bound by NDAs. And now some things have actually gone forward, so there's not a lot I can really say. There's some teasers in there, but overall, we just talk about basic stuff that's still very true, despite the fact that the PPE world is completely different than it was that time last year. So. Yeah, I mean, for their viewing pleasure, this was the first time I ever got to sit down with somebody and really talk about certain things and the things that we're working on and get to know one of my customers finally after it's actually been close to 6 years now, Mark, since I first started with Adenna and took over your account. So
wow.
it was a great opportunity to meet you finally and talk about great things. But now, so when you're watching the video, everybody, we're going to go ahead and update any of that stuff. So if questions come up from watching that video, feel free to, write up.
Cool. Let's fire it up and ready to go. So just let me know when you want me to click go.
All right. Yeah. Just stick around for the live Q&A after at the end here, guys. And let's take a look at our past selves, and then
let's talk tattoo.
Let's talk tattoo.
Hey guys, we got a different kind of treat here. This is James Gaither. He is the industry representative for Adenna products. So the gloves you use, the barriers, the masks, a lot of things we sell that you love. This is the guy that makes a lot of that happen. And basically, we're gonna talk to him a little bit, and because we all know Adenna's really successful within the industry. And I'm wondering if you could give us a little information, maybe your theories as to why you think that is, other than, just quality products, but why are they a step ahead of everybody else?
Well, Adenna, in many ways, had filled a hole in the gap in the tattoo industry, multiple industries at the time, back in the 90s, where tattoo artists were looking for high-quality, consistent gloves. And at the time, there was this battle between latex and nitrile and allergies, and nitrile was brittle and would snap easily, and it was a little hard to manipulate. But as technology got better, Adenna was able to capitalize on a really good formulation that instantly was attracted, or artists were attracted to, because the quality was there. It was coming out of Malaysia, which is known for higher quality gloves versus China. And it was just at a time and a place where med suppliers were looking for black gloves, and the fragmented tattoo distributorships that are much bigger now, back then were also looking for a high quality glove with supply. And we were lucky at that time to get it into the market, and the market just gobbled it up.
Cool. I gotta say, I was really pleasantly, surprised when I got to meet you, because we've only spoke on the phone, and I sort of just that salesman-like mentality, sales call type of thing, or whatever. When I get to meet you and find out that you are a tattoo enthusiast, collector, you're passionate about the industry, it's gonna make things a little different for me moving forward, knowing that I've got somebody in you on your end that is fighting for me in the industry to get us products that we need to move forward and make everybody a little safer.
Yeah, I mean, I'll sit in a chair. It was a passion from the moment I walked through the doors at Adenna, handling a lot of different industries, tattoo being one that instantly was very attractive to me. So I had to really fight hard to give some of my ideas that, Adenna couldn't just be a med supplier. They had to put a face and new products to market often, and stay loyal and true to their distributorship mentality, not sell to the end user. I know it's tough. We get hit up all the time, but yeah, so I mean, I think it comes from the heart a little bit more when I'm designing products and working with the team at Adenna. We have great team, multiple departments that come together to make something happen. So, the fact that I'm willing to sit in a chair, I'm also willing to pick up the machine and kind of get a feel for what an artist has to go through, so I can better, design products and bring products to market. So
awesome.
Yep.
Now, I know you can't tell us a whole lot about what's going on, but I mean, you've alluded to the fact that there's some really cool stuff in the pipeline coming out or whatever. I mean, I know you can't say a whole lot. I mean, even if you want to tease the audience a little or just tighten up like shut up like a clam, I get it, but like,
Right.
I'm gonna try and
You try to pull something out of me, yeah.
trying to dig just a little bit here, man.
Right.
I don't know what you can or can't share, but I mean, you do have some good stuff coming, don't you?
We do. It's been about a 1.5-year project. Adenna was acquired a few years back by one of the largest non-mill converters of wiping products. So we're highly regarded as a very large competitor against companies like Georgia Pacific or Kimberly-Clark, which was great because it added an opportunity for us to kind of expand our product line into paper goods. So I can't say much about those things yet, but you're going to see them by the end of 2020 in the market. We wanted to focus on things.
But they won't have anything to do with paper, right? That's just a weird
I
teaser.
don't know, right? But yeah, so that acquisition expanded quite a few different opportunities for us. Paper goods is one of them for sure. We have a brand new glove that's going to be coming to market here in the next probably 60 to 90 days that is going to be that's going to kind of address the demand for chloroprene, but still getting that nitrile, high quality, thicker glove. We're excited about that. That should be coming out really soon. And then, yeah, some really good stuff by the end of this year. I can't wait to roll out. But we really wanted to keep the process in mind more than anything. We didn't want to just launch something that was already there. We wanted to add a little bit more value, but then also think about what a tattoo artist has to do when they're in a session with a client. And try to make something easier for them. So 1.0 on all these products is going to be studio focused, and then hopefully, 2021 and years to come, 2.0s will be focused on the expos and the traveling artists.
Now, I've been hearing the word chloroprene, not constantly, but it's been popping up more and more and more frequently. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit? Let people know what the desire is for that glove.
Well, chloroprene's it depends on the artist that you ask. And how they got introduced to an alternate to nitrile. But I alluded to earlier latex and nitrile battle back in the day.
Right.
Because of allergies, well, people still have slight allergies to nitrile. Nitrile can also be still regarded to be a little bit stiffer and not have that tactile sensitivity. So chloroprene is not widely produced at all, so it's expensive to import, but it doesn't have the same butadiene, sulfurs, and some of the same accelerators that a nitrile glove would, and it makes them a little bit softer, but you have to shave the specs down thin enough so that you can keep the price point with what the tattoo market is accepting.
Okay. So it's to some degree, say, more inert to most individuals?
Yeah, a lot of artists will definitely claim that as well, that it's just for them. They have no skin irritation. I've also heard opinions of where it's easier to don, which is donning, that's the industry term, putting the glove on maybe after you've been going on and off in your hands and your pores have been opening. So sometimes the nitrile can get a little bit sticky, or maybe even latex, but chloroprene is regarded to be a little bit smoother to don on the hands.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking a little bit of time to talk to me, man. And I just wanted to introduce you to the tattoo community or whatever. They see you. You're going to start doing more shows.
Yep.
Come on up, introduce yourself to James, say hello, ask him maybe for some samples or information on what's going on, and pay attention, people, because Adenna's in our corner, and they want to make things better for us, and I'm happy to sell the products. I use the products, and like I said, it's nice to know we got a guy like this in our corner.
Yep.
Thanks, James.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate you.
You got it. I'll sit in your chair one of these days.
Awesome.
Awesome. I'm off mute right now.
But Mark is not off mute.
We can't hear you, Mark.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, no, it's like weird looking at your past self. I mean,
Right.
I think we all aged 20 years in the last year, really. But
Note to self, though, I'm probably not the best candidate for those shirt mics.
Yeah, I can't
Sorry
stand
about that all.
that. But
Yeah.
that was my bad. You could put the mic. I'll put the microphone across next.
Yeah,
well, I
is a
think we
much
had
better
the boom
setup.
mics too. He just maybe used the wrong ones for the sound. But anyways, James, looking back at our little adventure there at New England Tattoo Convention last year, Looking at that now, or looking at that again at this point in time here, can you put yourself back in the mindset you were that day and give us a little bit of a comparison as to what has changed since then to now?
Yeah, I watched the video a couple times. Everything was pretty straightforward. You had some great questions. The only thing that changed was everything got put on the back burner. Middle of February last year, I came back from New England, and about a week later, I got sick. Right when everything was starting to be, televised. Internally, as a corporation, we were starting to work on the protocols of getting people out of the office, create a safer environment. So the whole world just flipped upside down 180 degrees. So everything I was talking about and excited about back then was, that's in the back burner now instantly. We couldn't pay attention to it anymore. So, just because we had to streamline our efforts. And gloves and PPE, gloves, face masks are probably the two biggest things that derailed all of our projects. So, a lot of that stuff is still in the works. What we did between the moments of when we actually had time to work on tattoo projects again was we just really started focusing more on the back end. Started working with our pro team a little bit more, following through on some of the promises we had made to them in 2019, building that those relationships better. And we started working on the protocols internally behind the scenes, so that when we are able to launch new products and we are able to start adding more value out there, that we're in a position to be able to support that through education, social media, things of that nature. So we're back in the saddle now with about 4 products that we hope to launch by the end of this year, some of them maybe soon, and we're right back into working on our tattoo brand, which is right there, Art Noir. That's almost complete right now too. So we're really excited to start doing more things like this, broadcasting, and talking more and more about all the things we've been working at. And we're just getting right back into it right now.
Cool. Good to know. And for those that might have picked up on that, Adenna has been developing their own pro team, people, higher level artists in the business that they can get these new products to, get them in a working environment and get instant feedback on to help with the development, which is, again, it just tells you that they care. Obviously they want to grow their business and be more successful, but they're willing to put the effort in to help us all grow, which is awesome if you ask me. And I know that James here has the ear of the CEO of the company and can give feedback. His opinions are valued there, which definitely makes a difference and makes me feel better about doing business with that company. Okay, I know not to beat around the bush at all, but there's got to be people out there just chomping at the bit, wanting to know what's going on with the physical supply chains, the costs. Everybody thinks that, we're all driving Bentleys now because we sell gloves and things like that. And that's certainly not the case. But would you shed a little bit of light onto this, the story, and help dispel some of the rumors going around?
Yeah, absolutely. To be clear though, you could give me a Bentley and that would be on the market. That would be on the market tomorrow. I'm old school. You know what I mean? I don't need anything extra. I need a truck. We're good. No, we definitely did not. The term that's coming up a lot is price gouging, or profiteering. And I've spoke to just a ton of artists last year and even just a couple, in January. And how can we expect them, the end user, to understand that it's not gouging or profiteering, just systematically trying to capitalize on what's happening. So, when you talk about maybe a glove importer or glove manufacturer like ourselves, we sit kind of at the top of the food chain on that, meaning that our turnover is so great and quick, even pre-COVID market, that we're always kind of reflecting the closest cost of goods in the market. So it put a lot of our distributors in a bad position because our costs were going up against purchase orders at an old cost that if we actually honored that price, we would have lost money. So we've gone way down in terms of our margins, but the costs have gone way up, and it was a nightmare. We had four price increases last year. Some of them only about 45 days apart, and that's insanity. We even had to go back to old purchase orders, which is unprecedented. We've never done that. I don't think any company, any decently ran company, has ever had to go back and increase the price on a purchase order and not honor that price. And, we're in a force majeure market still, meaning contract pricing, bids, everything is out the door. There is no, it's honor amongst thieves at this point. You want the product, this is the new cost. If not, somebody else wants it. And it changed me as a human being because I had to completely change how I normally would sell people. Now it was a lot of inbound and a lot of me telling people no, because Adenna immediately bolted down and we took care of our core suppliers. We had no choice. So we built an algorithm that gave the ability for people to be on allocation, meaning that, for an example, let's say a small mom pop med supply in the middle of the United States was doing about a pallet per month in 2019. If the supply chain was 50%, I was giving them half a pallet per month in 2020. And the delays you experience it, Mark, you might submit a PO in March. That PO wasn't actually being invoiced until June.
Yeah. No, I mean, you heard some of my choice words when this all first started to happen. And, I lost my cool a little bit. I definitely threw around a few curse words, which is relatively common for me anyways. But you took the time to explain to me, on a business level, what was happening behind the scenes. And once I could understand that, no, I'm not going to like it. There's nobody in their right mind would. But once I was able to at least, wrap my mind around what was going on, and it's insanity. Everybody needs to understand that this is 100% out of everybody's control. And it's not just gloves I've had to do this with, but it's a few other products too, where I've like you said, I've ordered product and before it could ship had a price increase on the purchase orders, which has never happened before in all my history of doing business. And I threatened to, leave companies and whatnot. And I'm like, well, wait, I have no place to go because it's the same everywhere. We're all at the mercy of new buyers is what it is there's now people coming in to buy these products that had minimal interest before or no interest before. And unfortunately, it's people with endlessly deep pockets in some cases, entire countries or just insanely wealthy organizations. And, they're just buying the market share. And I know you're having to fight to keep the reduced supplies that you have. So, and I imagine it's going to be like that for everybody within your industry.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to do too much fighting because if I'm putting you on allocation, that means I'm on allocation. The production of gloves could not ramp up quick enough to the market demand once the factories had shut down for obvious reasons. And then when they did come back online, they came back at partial capacity. And then on top of that, even though they may be making gloves in partial capacity, the packaging companies still hadn't come back online. So you got to put it in a box, right? So in that, I'd say about 45 to 60 day period of getting back to at least some sort of partial capacity, the demand had gone so high that we were immediately on allocation, just like everybody else. And yeah, foreign governments building up the coffers, our government, billionaires, things of that nature definitely drove up the cost of gloves because everybody's freaking out. Oh my gosh, I need gloves, right? But really, there was only about a handful of industries that truly needed them. But yeah, I mean, you know, supply and demand. You know, I learned it firsthand on this one. For sure, it's just, it is what it is at the end of the day. And now you're going to see occasional new gloves popping up everywhere. I was just visiting with 2 studios last week here in Vegas, and you got guys rolling around selling them industrial grade gloves and not telling them that it's not an exam grade glove. And they're all excited. Well, I'm getting it back down at $11 and $12 a box. Well, good for you. You know, you might have pinholes in that thing. That's not a lot of fun, right? So, you know, you are going to see occasional gloves that are going to be at older cost of goods to the company that's selling them, because they finally got their container, and it's going to be a little cheaper than maybe Adenna is sometimes, because, like I said, we reflect the current market cost of goods because our turnover is high. We're not sitting on containers for 4 or 5 months, right? You know, it's kind of like dusk till dawn. You got blue gloves, you got black gloves, you know, you can find cheaper gloves anywhere else, buy it. So, you know, if you can get
Sunday.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you're an artist and you're okay with using an industrial grade glove, that's on you. But if you can find exam grade gloves a little bit cheaper than Adenna, you know, buy it. We're going to come back. We're going to be back in a situation where we're going to, and we've always kind of sat at the high end. People always pay just a tad bit more for our gloves anyways, because they knew that they can trust the quality overall, and that's not going to change. But yeah, so it's been a big learning curve for everybody.
Yeah, I've had to explain to, you know, some clients that if you can find other gloves, I appreciate the loyalty and wanting to buy them from me, but I may not be able to help you at all times. And we've even sent customers to competitors, you know, direct competitors of mine that I know have current supplies. So, you know, let's say I'm out of Adenna, but I know Tommy's here, who's just down south in Connecticut or whatever. You know, Tommy, good friend of mine. If I know he just got a shipment, I'm gonna tell my customers to go where they can get the product, a good product and a safe product. I'd love to have the business. I'd love to have the money, but in the long run, I'm here to help people find what they need and get what they need. That's right now. It's we all have to work together to help each other, I guess, until this is over. I know you can't give any sort of time frame because none of us can predict the future, but what are you seeing in the current market? Are things getting a little better, a little worse? Give us your opinion. What's going on?
Yeah, and I'll make this definitely as more of an opinion with a couple of facts blended in there. So we have seen, and for a short period of time, anticipated anyways, latex costs go down, and that's usually a good indicator. That might not be sustainable for too long because we do enter that rainy season, and latex does come from a latex rubber tree, and you can't really excrete that from the trees during the rainy season. Chinese New Year's going down as well, so we expect latex to maybe pop back up a little bit. Alternative glove options have been the most lucrative for, I think, quite a few importers and manufacturers alike. So we got like a vinyl nitrile blend. Overall gloves were streamlined, and all of the dominoes are set up for it to recover. It's just a matter of time, because even if the costs go down, I don't get that container for 90 days. So it's, if I have to speak to everybody in the tattoo industry, just be patient with us, be patient with whoever your supplier is. We're going to get through it. And it's only one aspect of what your day-to-day job that's kind of a bit of a stress on you. As long as you're getting some sort of glove that you can be comfortable with, we're going to get back to the better times for sure. So I feel there could be recovery by the end of this year that starts to actually make an impact at the end user level. But we don't know. A lot of the experts are saying it's not going to be until 2020, 2022 potentially before you really see big. I don't know if it'll ever get back to where it used to be, where it was $10 a box for a bomb, exam grade glove. Who knows? I don't know.
Right. Now, can you discuss a little bit of the alternative gloves here for people? Because a lot of tattooers get set in their ways. We get stubborn for sure. We like what we like. We're not afraid to pay for it. But in these times, we're all going to have to make some concessions here and there. So can you tell the folks what you think is going to be the best alternatives, or what's going to be either similar to what they've been using before, whether it's black or not, and what might even be better than what they're used to?
Yeah, I'll speak to what's out there and they can get their hands on or in, so to speak. And then I can
Okay.
talk about some stuff that we have in the pipeline. I don't know if enough artists realize that an exam grade vinyl glove, although a little bit baggy on the hand, is a great alternative, and definitely probably 15 to 30% cheaper depending on where you source it at. You can always go with a thinner glove if you get your hands on it, as long as it's exam. But if you can get your hands on chloroprene, which was also streamlined, that kind of all disappeared from the market for a little while, except for some huge small pockets here and there. That's an option as well. But, and then here's another one that we've been working on more and more and more, and that is latex. Okay. A lot of people are still scared of latex for some reason because of the latex allergies. Which, I forget who publicized it, but I believe, and don't quote me on this 100%, it's less than 1% of the population globally could potentially be allergic to latex or have a severe reaction. I could tell you that when I used to use it when I was a foreman pipe fitter, I'd get minor skin irritations because the pores open up. And of course you got something resting on there and you're sweating, and it would just be a little bit of an itch. Wash your hands. You were good. You were fine. No big deal. But the latex allergy scare in general came from the fact that powdered latex would carry that latex protein into the pores more effectively, as well as the fact that when you took the glove off, you could potentially have an airborne upper respiratory issue if people were breathing in that powder. That's why they started getting rid of powder and latex in the early 2000s in the medical world in general. Anything that needed to have a medical grade glove, powder went bye like that. Okay. That was just before I got into the industry. So if you have a fear of latex on your own usage of it, understandable. But if you haven't used it in a really long time and you can get your hands on some good latex gloves that are exam grade, give it a try right now. Okay. If you can't get nitrile, latex might be the option. And then I know artists are concerned sometimes if their client has that, but then again, that goes to your professionalism as well. Is that on your waiver and your form? Identify if they have a latex allergy, because most people don't at the end of the day. I mean, latex is used in a ton of things in the medical world, not just gloves. So I think that, short term, don't be so, closed-minded or have the blinders on of what you've always used. If you're still finding nitrile somewhere and you're paying the top dollar for it, or maybe even getting it cheap, and as long as it's exam, whatever. But if you need something in the meantime, don't be afraid to try other gloves.
Well, that's a good plan. I mean, you could always keep a case or two of nitriles in the corner and in your main stock latex. If that's going to, if it's going to work for 90+% of your clients, why not? I mean, for a while, we're all going to have to use what we can find in the meantime. Okay, now going back to your products and whatnot. What's this? Ooh, shiny.
This is one of the things that we were alluding to on the video last year, Mark. And
I think I've got a few cases of those downstairs, just in case you're interested.
Yeah. Now this glove, I was extremely excited about this glove in 2019. The entire team was, but the POs didn't get in quick enough with the mills to be able to follow through on that amount of supply in the supply chain by the time COVID had come around. So we got very little this year, and we used it as a substitute, offering it to our distributors as, hey, I can't get you your normal stuff. Do you want to try this? Also, because we had so little supply, and our pro team have just been phenomenal in terms of understanding everything, we had to trim them down to half the amount. We usually give them a case per month, which pre-COVID is not all that much in general in terms of the savings, but it's still, it still helps. And now they're at half of that, and we ended up using this glove and this glove is an alternate in the meantime. So I'll talk a little bit about them. Okay. I think it's important to understand that this glove was really going to be a huge, huge thing for the tattoo industry in general. So the Coda, if you're familiar with our shadow glove on the market, which is everybody says is the purple one, which is, yeah, it is purple, but it's called shadow, right? Coda, you can kind of see the binary on there like the Matrix. So kind of cool that it plays that way. The Coda glove, and maybe you guys can see, or I bet you can on my camera here, it's got low derma technology built into the glove, which means some of the accelerators and chemicals associated with level 1 and level 4 dermatitis have been removed. It's also fentanyl rated as well and tested, and chemo tested. So that's really big for, the first responders, as well as, cops, everybody that's in the first responders, prison systems, correction systems with fentanyl and things like that, as well as the medical field. But where it really stands apart from any other nitrile on the market for the tattoo industry is the fact that the cuff is 1 inch longer than other cuffs. So you get some more coverage on that. Okay. And it's still not going to lose the tactile sensitivity. And the result of the glove, I'm putting a glove on, but it's still extremely soft and a lot closer to the feel of a chloroprene, but still a nitrile. See the coverage on that coming down right here?
Yeah,
So,
that's
really
nice. There
glove.
wasn't a lot of longer gloves back when I was tattooing on the daily. And yeah, you're always getting crap on your wrists.
Yeah, we're really excited about this one. So once we can get a steady supply, you'll be seeing it occasionally out there with all of our major retailers. I think it's just something that everybody should probably try to at least try a box one of these days once we can get a steady supply out there in the market. And then its little sister, for more of the PMU world or gals or anybody that doesn't care about color, it's called Innovate. I got to go right to left because everything's reversed there. So Innovate, it's got the same properties right here, but it's a 200 count. So it's a little bit thinner. You're going to have more of a tactile sensitivity when you're holding the machine and touching, but yeah, we're really excited about that one too.
Nice. And now I know you're probably bound by some NDAs and whatnot, but that whole paper thing we kind of touched on the video. Is there anything at all you can leak on that, or no? It's
I could probably clarify something. So I don't want Spirit Papers or Mario or anybody that's in the in that industry to think that that's the paper that I mean. No, we are big into the wipers, which is the technical term for a non-woven, which woven would be the threads, right? A non-woven wiper. So when I say paper, I mean more of like a paper towel concept. So we're close on that. We're going to be running that industry, and those raw materials also took a bit of a hit last year. So circumstantially, it was easy to put off, like I said, to the back burner. So yeah, that's something that's in-house, and maybe I can even talk about who we are now a little bit more too, if you want me to share the screen real quick here.
Yeah. Give us a little bit of insight onto who you are, what industries you guys actually play in.
Yeah, so I hope everybody can see that. You can see that, right, Mark? Good, we good, Gabe?
Yeah, I said.
Oh, perfect.
Cool, awesome. So a lot of people when they think Adenna, right? But we were acquired in 2017. I was a part of that acquisition, obviously, and since then the acquisitions have not stopped. And when you acquire something, you might be acquiring a mill or a converter or somebody that controls chemicals and whatnot, and they might not be a go-to-market brand anymore, but they are owned by the same company. So we created a directive whereas they continue to acquire companies, however it fits into the mix, it's going to be known as a Hospico Brands Group company. Okay, so you'll see that on our logo in the future. I think you can see it right up over there. Adenna, a Hospico Brands Group company. Now, the reason we chose Hospico is that it's got a 100-year history in the away from home, restroom, feminine hygiene, and the rag market. I believe those are the major three that they've just been dominating on for a long time. So we're a sister company to them, and They've made a couple acquisitions that are brands that are going to continue to go to market besides Adenna. That's Nil Odor, which gets us into the chemical industry. Little hint there. And then Acute Care Pharmaceuticals, which is going to be more of the laboratory and clean room, but definitely more specific on the pharmaceutical lab and clean room verticals themselves. So, if you ever see Adenna is going to be Adenna going forward, and Adenna takes care of our verticals: tattoo, automotive, medical, dental, things of that nature. These other divisions will take care of their verticals separately. So nothing really changes at the end of the day, except for as companies are acquired, we can all be under one umbrella brand name.
Right. But now you have, as a company, you have direct access to different engineers and facilities and things that you never had access before, which is obviously going to allow you to do more R&D and expand and improve. So I think that's pretty cool. I kind of understand business on that level, but I've never in my entire life worked for any sort of a corporate industry. So it's intriguing
That makes
to
two of
me.
us.
Yeah, it's intriguing to me.
I'm learning every single day. I'm a Google graduate here, people. College dropout.
All right. Hey, Gabe, do we have any questions out there yet, or have we been?
Yeah, the Facebook's decided to be mean to us, but we do have a couple here. Let's see. Well, there is the generic, why are prices so high? I know that you may have covered it a little bit, but if you want to give us a definitive answer for people that are just tuning in.
Yeah.
I mean, my basic idea, let me speak for 2 seconds, and then you can field the question properly after I what I've been noticing is not only did COVID just shut down all the factories for a little while, but not just those factories, but the factories that supply those factories with the raw materials. And it's just like this almost never ending domino effect. And not to mention, so just the raw materials are just months and months and months behind now, and even getting laborers back and everything. So it's just every single one of these things is compounded on top of the other to dig this insanely deep hole. It's going to take a while to get out of, right? I mean, that's my take. What's the real answer?
I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head. I mean, it's difficult to dance around and sugarcoat this market right now. And yes, it goes all the way down to the raw materials. If demand goes up, costs go up. And then, of course, production can't keep up with the demand because they have regulations there. And that's barely starting to show signs of recouping. And then they're contracted line times and line operators and factory owners and importers like ourselves and manufacturers in general. We're reacting to the amount of the supply with the increasing cost of goods. And we were smart enough to, instantly say no to all pieces of business people that I've been calling on for years as a sales guy. At the end of the day, I'm going to dial for dollars, right? All of a sudden, my best friends, and I got to tell them to go pound sand because I got Mark, I got Kingpin, I got all these great customers that are relying on me to get them one of the highest demanded products at that moment in time, and I don't got as much for them, and the cost is going up. So it was a very frustrating time. I'd say the first 6 months of last year, and then everybody started getting used to the process. The problem is I'm a very proactive person, but I was then thrown into a reactive world where if you weren't hitting me up, you weren't getting a hold of me, and you weren't getting the answers that you needed. You mentioned Tommy earlier too. He was frustrated. Everybody was very frustrated in general, and they went and looked for other alternate sources. We suggested that they did too. At the end of the day, we want you guys as companies to stay open. We want you to be able to succeed. We want you to be able to, put food on the plate. So hopefully that answers the question. We're not gouging. I can promise you that. I see the margins. The only reason we survived and made money is because the cost of the dollar for dollar sale was higher. But at the end of the day, the margin didn't get boosted out of proportion. And we're on the container and pallet load size. We're the players. You know what I mean? There's two types of suppliers, right? Those that need forklifts and those that don't. We need forklifts for sure. And We had to do what's right for our customers and every vertical. And the tattoo community is the most interesting one because that's the one that has the most passionate end user. And you didn't hear dentists giving Adenna a call complaining about gloves. You didn't hear an automotive mechanic complaining about the cost of gloves, but you definitely heard from the tattoo community going, the choice
Guilty
word.
as charged.
Yeah, just let me have it, right? I'm like, that's it. I'm not responding to that email today. I need to take care of stuff, and I'll get back to them.
Well, another aspect to that too is it's not even just production and materials and labor and all that, but because of the increased tariffs and everything else that's going on in the world, logistics, ships were not leaving the ports until they were filled to a reasonable level to where the shipping companies were making money. So even if I had containers sitting in China or Malaysia or anywhere else, if I had containers ready to come to the US, they could be sitting on a boat for a month or two before they would leave port and even head this direction, just because there wasn't that much product moving. Everything got scaled down dramatically.
Right. Yeah, that's true as well. I didn't even mention logistics. It's just so that everybody knows the community. It's the raw materials, the converting of the raw materials, the line operators like ourselves that spec the products that we need for the industry, the individuals that the individuals that package those goods. And then once it's packaged, then it's got to get onto a container, and then that container's got to get over here, and then we got to get it into the stock, and then we got to unload it and palletize it and fulfill POs and get it out there, and then you got to sell it. It touches so many different steps along the way that. And I'll tell you, go back to 2019 and every day that I've been in the glove industry before, we would have fluctuation of goods all the time. But our habit isn't to increase prices because our stuff goes up a few percentage points. It's ride the market, enjoy the nice ones, and then go ahead and eat the small ones. And I think before COVID, I had increased prices once in maybe 5 years on you, Mark.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We're not in the habit of hurting people. We're a part of something big, in general. So yeah, I mean, we're going to get through it though. I mean, all those moving parts that we're talking about in the entire supply chain, they're going to have to snap back eventually.
Well, I mean, in the end of the day, I mean, you work for me. I mean, just like I work for my customers, I rely on their business and their revenue to maintain my business. And you rely in part on my business and my revenue headed your direction to stay in business. Now, given tattooing is a much smaller part than the medical part, but it's growing. And there's no reason you would want to hurt me or in turn make me hurt my customer. I mean, it's illogical, but in desperate times, people start to think irrationally, or not even irrationally. It's a rational emotion and thought process, but there's no reason for it. I mean, we're all going to have to struggle for a little bit longer here.
Okay, so I've got a comment over from Gaither. He says that Michelle uses your Night Angel gloves, and he's open to trying them out or whatever. Let's see, what else do we've got? Do you want to talk a little bit about the difference or the need for exam grade gloves as opposed to just some people are just picking up industrial ones?
Yeah, I want to hear that. Give us some explanation.
Yeah, there's a lot of convolution there. It's not that much of a cost savings to bring in an industrial grade glove versus an exam grade glove. However, an exam grade glove does go through several different points of quality control on the line in terms of how we spec the product. You definitely use formulations that create the least amount of pinholes. An exam grade glove itself is just a better made glove overall. Difference between like a Lexus and a Toyota, right? So these put a little bit more fine tuning into the entire manufacturing process and the specs in general and the polymers. And then once it's actually imported, we got to go through our favorite person in America, the FDA, right? They get everything, right? That comes in and our containers can get stopped at any moment in time and they can be tested. That we can hold a container sometimes 30 days. So an exam grade glove and industrial grade glove can, in essence, be very, very similar in specs, but an exam grade glove is going to go through more steps of quality control in general. And there's an acceptable failure point that I should probably know off the top of my head, but my brain's full lately, and I could probably maybe update you guys on this another time. But you know, in the end, the failure point of an exam grade glove is going to be far less than an industrial grade glove. And you know, in general, here's the thing: industrial grade glove doesn't go through FDA. Anybody can bring that in. I'm sure any tattoo artist in general has gotten their hands on a really crappy, cheap glove. If it doesn't say exam on the box or medical on the box, then it's an industrial or food grade. Okay, industrial and food grade are the same thing. So, you know, hopefully that answers the question a little bit. It's definitely a lot more science that's above my head, but the overall quality of the product, everything from the polymer to the production process in general on a medical grade glove is more closely watched. And yeah.
Is there a just to follow that up? Is there a difference in the for the latex in the exam and the industrials of the breakdown times for petroleum based lubes, or is it all just?
That's a good question. We have chemical charts. I always need to know what the active ingredient is in whatever sort of solvents or chemicals or solutions that somebody's coming in contact with. Because yes, the question is great because of the fact that some things are going to perform better with latex versus nitrile. Example would be like in the automotive industry, like hexane, which is the active ingredient in brake cleaner. It's one of the few things where you would end up dropping your nitrile and go into a latex. And you know, technicians don't really know that, so they don't keep both of their options on the wall. I like this glove. That's what I use. But, you know, I always say, watch how your glove is performing. You know, the last thing you need to do is be using some sort of chemical and have it seeping through the glove and getting into your hands. The body soaks up stuff pretty quickly. So, yeah, I mean, always pay attention to how your gloves are performing. Latex is always a great option. It's more of a natural product, not synthetic. It's more flexible in general, easier to manipulate in the manufacturing process. So, I mean, me personally, I always lean toward nitrile for a lot of the chemical stuff that I personally do on, you know, in my free time. But yeah, always pay attention to, you know, how your glove is performing. You don't want to just dip it into, you know, a vat of acetone or something, you know, but for most disinfectants, I think you're going to be just fine with either option.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know, it's probably 20 years ago, the early 2000s, there was the fear factor when people started moving into the nitrile more than the latex of like Gabe said, the petroleum breaking down the latex components, and people were talking about, if you're using latex, you need to change your gloves every so many minutes, you know. And at that point in time, we didn't have the world at our fingertips on a keyboard here either. So
yeah,
you had a tendency to believe more of what you heard if you thought it was coming from a reliable source. I can only think that things have gotten better since then from a production standpoint or inspection standpoint, where the stuff that's going to market nowadays, as long as it's exam grade, is probably got some longevity to it. Am I wrong in that assumption? Or,
I mean, in the market in general?
well, I mean, if I'm tattooing with latex, because we obviously were just trying to, you know, not trying to push latex, but telling people it was a viable alternative, and they should use it where they can use it. Is there an increased risk in using latex when you are using petroleum? Now, a lot of tattooers are reducing or eliminating petroleum-based products in their procedures now, so that's doesn't come into play for a lot of them. But
you would mean like an A&D or something like that for
A&D, or even those that still want to go old school with the Vaseline, or
I don't think you're going to have an issue overall, just because it's not like you're coating the glove in it. But then again, you know, it just depends. I'd have to look at all the active ingredients. Petroleum itself that's a really wide, broad spectrum, you know, thing to say. It just depends on. Here's the thing: there's a lot of latex users still, even though I'm telling you, hey, that's an alternative for all you nitrile individuals out there. Latex is still very widely used. The Phantom glove is still the #1 glove in the tattoo industry. We can track that. You know what I mean? That information is there. So people are loyal to that glove, and they are having zero issues with it in general. So, you know, if it's breaking down with a strictly petroleum based glide of some sort, you know, then change something, change the brand of the glove, change the brand of whatever you're using during the tattooing process. If you're having problems, or give us feedback. You can always hit us up. I believe it's marketing@adenna.com. You can hit us up there. Or, you know, james.gaither@adenna.com too. You can always, I'd love to hear if latex is breaking down with traditional Vaseline. Wasn't even aware of that as that being an issue. So yeah, if we dig into it just a tad bit further one of these days, I'd love to even learn more. I'm already making a note to maybe do some research on that myself.
Well, like I said, I don't know if it's a fact or not. I'm just stating that was the scare back in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s
Okay.
for the switch, the drive to nitrile to start with was those rumors got started, and you know we couldn't really fact check back then the way we do now. So that I know it's still in the back of my mind. So
Yeah.
it may be factual, it may be myth. You know, do a little research, get back to us on that. So
Yeah, I will. I mean, I'm going to do some research here too. I got 3 tattoos booked in the next 45 days, and I'll just keep watching them do this. You know what I mean? That's all they're doing, right?
Right on. You gonna plug whoever's tattooing you or what?
I could, yeah, if you want.
Yeah, I mean,
I just locked up the last one yesterday, actually, on a little Sunday after the farmers market here. So I'm working with, and this kind of came up. I met him in Pasadena before we went out to New England last year before everything went crazy. Tim Lee, to fill in the very hard to work with spot here, because I'm more of a collector. So I'm not that guy that goes and finds somebody and says, I want you to give me the sleeve with the same feel from your art. I just get tattoos randomly. So he was challenged with kind of filling in this spot. And we're going to be booking that probably sometime late April, maybe. There is Hector, I think it's Hex_tattoo or something, at Relic out here in Las Vegas. He's going to be doing my knee and my shin down through my foot in about, I think he's got me on March 6th, so that's just a few weeks away. And then there's another one. This guy's awesome. I just met him. It's Austin. I think it's OK Austin out of Reverent Tattoo in Las Vegas. And he's going to do the back of my calf, because I already have 2 pieces on the side of the calf that I've gotten done at shows and stuff. So I'm excited to get about 3, maybe 4 tattoos done before the, pool weather.
awesome, man. Yeah. So I don't want to keep talking here just to run on time or whatever, but I think I've said just about everything I want to. Is there anything I've missed or you wanted to bring to light here, James, before we go? Or
yeah, there's been some weird rumors that have gone around that have come from multiple angles, from definitely multiple sources, and I don't know where the sources are, but I just want to dispel them, because at the end of the day, I don't care. It's no such thing as bad press, right? But people have been commenting saying that Adenna is going to get into the pigment industry or the cartridge manufacturing. And I just wanted to make that very clear. We have no business being in that. We're a medical disposable. We don't have adding value to that. And there's too many companies out there that have done that year over year over year over year, long before Adenna was anything. All the old school guys that made these types of things great in the industry, we would be shitting on our customers directly if we ever played in that space. So I'm just making that clear. Unless there's just an insane market shift or something unforeseen, in general, we have no plans to mess around with inks, pigments, cartridge manufacturing at all. We're going to stay in our lane. It's just that simple. There's another thing that comes up a lot of the times where somebody's claiming that Adenna is selling to the end user. Again, unless something changes drastically with this industry, we want to stay to our core distribution channels, and just respect that distribution channel and supply chain in general. So we have no plans to do that. And then there's also zero ownership between us and some of the largest distributors out there. So we don't make that distributor retail dollar. We're not associated with any company that does, other than the fact that they are our customer. And again, going back to everything else, we're not going to, we're not going to take a big poo on our customers by undercutting some of their intellectual property and the things that they've worked really hard on, such as yourself, like that. Mark, you drop me in a second if I started making cartridges, right, bro?
True story, man.
Yeah.
True story.
So, yeah, I just wanted to say that. I mean, there's not much else to say beyond all that, but it has been going around, and that's cool. And I have exciting conversations with people at shows for the last few years now, and if they take it the wrong way, and people want to yam on about that behind my back, that's cool. But at the end of the day, I'm not really concerned about it. But I think it'd be good just to let everybody know that we know how to stay in our lane.
It's just a sign of success, man. There's always going to be that going out there. Me, I'm a little guy, so I have to start the rumors about me because nobody else will do it. So, all in all, man, I'm just glad we finally got to meet last year, James. We've gotten a bit closer over this last year. We definitely you were really patient with me when I absolutely lost my shit earlier in the year in your direction.
You've been prepping me on that for a few years though, Mark. I think the day one when I started becoming your sales rep, you look for a way to hammer me. So I've been cross training for COVID for at least 4 or 5 years.
Hey, I've always got to be fighting for the best price and the best service on my end, so that I can in turn pass that through to my customers. And just so you know, you're not the only guy that gets that from me. It's virtually everybody. Every vendor I have to deal with has to jump through a few hoops for me. Like I said, I'm working on behalf of my customers at all times. So I think that about covers it, man.
Yeah. Is there any more questions at all, Gabe, before we jump off of this?
My guess is that people should be getting their answers offline because we are hitting past the hour mark, and I'm sure at some point you'll be back on too. So,
yeah, we can always do a follow up on this one. Anybody that did see this and stuff, you could feel free to look me up and reach out to me, see me at a show. Just hit me up. I mean, I'm definitely down to collaborate. Mark, thank you so much for doing this today, man. I appreciate it.
You too, man. Well, I mean, that was the reason for my our initial sit down and visit when we started a year ago was I wanted to introduce you to the tattoo industry because, I like you, I know you're sincere, and I wanted to put a face with the product, and it was just a simple introduction. Who knew it was going to turn into this whole mayhem thing where now it's more important that people have a face and a contact in this environment to put in their crosshairs.
Yeah. I mean, if you see this video too, please follow us at Adenna_tattoo. Pretty easy to find, and we are gonna be working with our pro team a lot more on education. We're taking a much larger responsibility on the social media aspect through this year and years to come, that we need to be able to have things such as this out there readily available. So whenever an artist or anybody has a comment or negative or positive or whatever sort of feedback, that can create another topic to help educate the rest of the industry. So pay attention to us a little bit more, follow us. And don't ever be afraid to DM us and engage with us as much as possible, because we're not going to get better with what we do without the experts at the end of the day. So we're excited to take ownership of that.
Well, very good, man. This is the point where I got to ask you folks to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with your friends, because we are trying to provide real content that it's useful to you folks. So, we're here to support you and do what you can to support us. And that's about all I want to say. Thanks for joining us.
It always gets weird clicking the button. Should I click the button?